morning to you, Grenada. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Gudday Grenada. It is the, let's see here, the 20th day. Oh, by the way, 20th day of the month, VAT day. Remember, get in there to Inland Revenue and make sure that you make your contribution to the development of Grenada. Now, this morning, we are going to start with another look at the CCJ, this time an article written by Sir Ronald Sanders. Then you're going to be hearing about another memorandum of understanding which has been signed between the government of Grenada and the Chinese government. And then finally, on this morning's program, Thursday morning, he's back in town. Alan's going to be with us for the morning. So, let's get started. The following is a column which was written by Sir Ronald Sanders. It is captioned, Judging the Caribbean Court of Justice. Sir Ronald, by the way, is Antigua and Barbuda's ambassador to the U.S. and the Organization of American States, or the OAS. All right? Now, he is also a senior fellow at the Institute of Commonwealth Studies at the University of London and Massey College at the University of Toronto. Here is what Sir Ronald says, and I quote, Startlingly, 8 of the 10 Commonwealth countries that still cling to the Judicial Committee, better known as the JC, of the Privy Council as their final court of appeal are Caribbean Community or CARICOM states. 43 of the 52 remaining Commonwealth countries, not counting Britain, have long since left this hangover from British colonialism. These countries include Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and India. Rightly, most Commonwealth countries who were tied to the to the JC of the Privy Council when they were colonies or dominions of Britain see no good reason why their final appellate court should continue to be distant British persons appointed by the British Prime Minister whose legal knowledge and expertise, while good, are no better than judges of their own countries or regions. Retentionists in the 8 CARICOM countries who argue for the retention of the JC of the Privy Council as their final court of appeal irrationally equate the performance of local courts in their jurisdictions to the Caribbean Court of Justice. They argue 2 things. The judges of the local courts are subject to direction of the governments that appoint them, and the judges are subject to influence from within their communities. Therefore, they say, the CCJ will be the same. There is no sound basis for such an equation. For, unlike the local courts, the justices of the CCJ are neither appointed nor paid by the governments of Caribbean countries. The CCJ is funded through a trust fund, which is independently managed. Justices of the CCJ do not get salary checks from any government. Furthermore, governments have no say in the appointment of the judges. A regional judicial and legal services commission chooses them. The commission comprises persons nominated jointly by the Commonwealth Bar Association and the Eastern Caribbean Bar Association, persons from civil society, following consultation with regional non-governmental organizations, 2 distinguished jurists nominated by law school deans, and two persons nominated jointly by the bar associations of CARICOM countries. The retentionists also failed to recognize that the JC of the Privy Council has neglected the task of improving the performance of local courts, which is a vital part of the role of a final court. The JC of the Privy Council has made little or no effort to educate or train judges and officers of local courts, or to improve their judgments by oversight and advice. But an extremely important role of the final court lies in interacting and interfacing with judges of the lower courts, and with improving the processes involved in the administration of justice. The JC of the Privy Council is unable to fill that role, not only because of its distance, but because it has no financial means to do so. It would have to ask an already financially strained British government to provide money for such education and training on a continuous basis. There is no earthly reason why British taxpayers would have any interest in seeing their money so diverted from their own needs. Staying with the JC of the Privy Council, therefore, consigns the 8 CARICOM countries to a judicial construct that is woefully inadequate. For if local courts are underperforming in the delivery of justice, they will not improve, nor will they sharpen their act, unless they are overseen by a higher court. In Britain, the United States, and elsewhere, judges of final courts are invariably involved in the judicial training academies of their respective countries. The JC of the Privy Council cannot perform this role for the Caribbean, but the CCJ routinely performs it through its Academy of Law and the Caribbean Association of Judicial Officers. Both of these bodies play a huge role in training judges in the jurisdictions for which the CGA is the final court, and thereby enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the administration of justice in the lower courts. In Guyana, for example, over the last 10 years, the CCJ has led the way in introducing new civil procedural rules, in training judges, lawyers, and court staff in the new rules, and in creating a modern landscape for the improved administration of justice. By contrast, the JC of the Privy Council plays no role whatsoever in improving justice delivery in any of the 8 CARICOM countries that hold on to its coattails. Significantly, the justices of the Privy Council in Britain are themselves very aware of the inadequacy that distance and unfamiliarity with the Caribbean place upon them. Lord Hoffman made telling statements about this on his first visit to Trinidad, even though he had been a judge of the JC of the Privy Council for 9 years. He admitted that, quote, members of the PC are being handicapped because they are not from this community. And he went on to add, the liberty of a final court of appeal to fashion as a third branch of government depends not only on its legitimacy, but upon its sensitivity of its members to what is necessary and what is possible, unquote. He suggested that such a final court must be aware of the society, have the necessary knowledge, legitimacy, and sensitivity to the politics. Since 2005, the CCJ has proved Lord Hoffman to be right. It has been manned by leading Caribbean judges of high international repute. Their judgments have been praised and cited by the highest courts of other lands. What is more, the CCJ has given Caribbean people of lesser means unprecedented access to appeals. The quality of a final court cannot be determined by its distance from a jurisdiction, nor can it be judged by the color of its judge's skin. What determines the quality of a court is its independence, its accessibility, the high standards of its judgments, and its capacity to help local courts deliver justice fairly and rightly. The CCJ has demonstrated its high quality. It is that high quality by which it should be judged. My dear friends, that was an article written by Sir Ronald Sanders. Some more food for thought, Grenada, as we endeavor to provide as many different perspectives as possible to help you make a good decision on November 6th. That column, once again, penned by Sir Ronald Sanders, who is Antigua and Barbuda's ambassador to the United States and the OAS. By the way, just before I take my first little break here, I want you to know that this coming Sunday, the next edition of Sundays with George Grant, you won't want to miss it, because I've got two zingers coming in here. Jerry Edwin, who is an attorney at law, and Ruggles Ferguson, who is also an attorney at law, and Ruggles is a member of the CCJ Advisory Committee here in Grenada. They're coming to debate the CCJ. This is the type of debate that has been a long time in coming. It's here. Let's take a little break. We'll come on back with the National Report.
So, babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply Departments and the Food Fair supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Easy living should be convenient. With Grennek, it is. Dial 237 for any Grennek department, or for customer service, streetlight outages, or if it's unsafe to trim a tree near a power line. For streetlights and service issues, please note the pole number. From just about anywhere, you can also check your bill balance and other account information. Just keep your Grennek access number handy. Dial 237 for Grennek. It's that easy. Grennek, energizing our Grenada.
Co-op Bank cares about your financial future, which is why we want you to join us on Thursday, September 20th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center for our first National Growth and Investment Dialogue. Come and be enlightened on seizing opportunities to grow your wealth.
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zebrapick, Nutmed, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Grenada officially launches a special victims unit targeting victims of domestic violence, sexual offences and child abuse. Details to this story and more coming up in the National Report. Welcome back with the news in details. I am Wendy Edmond. Grenada has launched its Special Victims Unit, and the number 400 is the new hotline number the public will use to make reports on domestic violence, sexual offences and child abuse. The unit will be embedded in the Criminal Investigations Department. Social Development Minister Honorable Delma Thomas is happy that offenders will get to feel the weight of the law under this unit.
Offenders of the intimate partner violence, child abuse, rape, and other sexual abuse will get the message that committing this crime is no longer business as usual. If they commit an offense, they will be dealt with according to the law. This Special Victims Unit being launched today is part of a larger national effort. This initiative fits with the National Strategic Plan to reduce gender-based violence, which was approved by Cabinet in July 2013. It is also in agreement with the National Gender Equality Policy and Action Plan approved in 2014.
The unit, which was launched by the Royal Grenada Police Force and the Ministry of Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment, bears the slogan, "Stand for Zero Tolerance." Acting Commissioner of Police Edwin Martin says the unit will have federal authority, meaning that it must be notified about every case and will have the authority to intervene, question and guide the investigative process.
The overarching intention is to achieve a proactive prevention and early intervention, as well as to ensure thorough investigation of cases and support for victims at all levels. Importantly, the conversation and strategic approach must be broadened to address the concern of at-risk young adolescent female who sometimes leave home for days and willingly get involved in sexual acts. Early identification of those cases and the factors contributing to the behavior must also be addressed. Additionally, firm action must be taken against those who encourage and support these activities.
During the launch, Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell appealed for all to be on board in this fight to create a better and safer society.
Our society would not make the progress it ought to make if we are not doing collectively confronting this problem and helping to deal. Because when these kids go up in that atmosphere and when you have these problems that are not solved, it reaches you, you know. Some of us might think we're immune to it. It will not be immune to it. It reaches our doors sometime.
Grenada and China have taken a further step towards deepening their ties with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding on the Belt and Road Initiative, which is expected to raise the level of practical cooperation in various fields. This initiative is led by the principle of extensive consultation, joint contribution and shared benefits with a focus on policy, infrastructure, trade, finance and people-to-people connectivity. Chinese Ambassador Dr. Zhao Yongchen says Grenada and China will now come to a new stage of working more closely together to promote practical cooperation in various fields. He says this involves enhancing the complementary of the Belt and Road Initiative and the 2030 National Plan of Grenada.
We need to enhance infrastructure connectivity to improve people's living standards, implement the upgrade project of the Maurice Bishop International Airport, and the second phase of the low-income housing projects must be par favor and accelerated.
The Chinese ambassador says it's also important to increase trade and financial connectivity. Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Peter David says China's invitation to Grenada to partner in the initiative presents an important opportunity to sustain the economic gains made in the country.
This initiative, Belt and Road Initiative, is another milestone in that regard, and it is expected, this initiative is expected to give Grenada access to what we call inexpensive capital. And for a developing country like Grenada, this is extremely important. That is access to inexpensive capital through the Belt and Road Initiative. This MOU that we are about to sign provides for extensive consultations, which will allow Grenada to benefit from China's technical and policy expertise also.
Several CARICOM countries have already signed on to this initiative. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The house was shaking. Then suddenly saw we hear bang, crack, and the roof had gone.
Man, I was so scared, I nearly wet myself.
Only those who have lived it can truly understand the devastating fury of a hurricane's wind.
The house across the road just get up and roll over.
Hurricane force wind. It's a hazard. Hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. You can hurricane-proof your home. For example, make your roof more wind-resistant by using screws instead of nails in its construction. Find out more about hurricane force winds and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from the National Disaster Management Agency and SEDERA.
Welcome back with more news in the National Report. The Grenada Tourism Authority and tourism stakeholders spent Wednesday morning warming the hearts of the President and CEO of Carnival Corporation and his team, who are visiting days before one of their cruise lines makes its inaugural call to Grenada. Carnival Breeze is expected here early next week. The team was given a true Grenada experience at the Melville Street Cruise Terminal with spices, rum, chocolate, and other delicacies on display. They also met several stakeholders, including taxi and tour operators, water sport operators, and entrepreneurs. Tourism and Civil Aviation Minister Dr. Clarice Modeste Cohen is thrilled that the island continues to attract more international cruise lines. She says the Grenadian experience is too rich not to be shared.
We have been blessed with so much that we enjoy it, but we do not want to keep it. And so we are open and disposed to working with the Carnival Cruise Lines and all of the other 9 cruise lines that are related with Carnival to bring people so that we can share what God has blessed us with. We have a wonderful people, and this is one of the things that is always mentioned by visitors, the wonder of our people.
GTA's Nautical Development Officer, Mistress Nikoyan Roberts, says Grenada continues to enhance its tourism product to maintain its great reviews from visitors.
From March to this month, we have been working with a consultant, a former vice president of the Carnival Corporation as well, Miko Kashkai, and we have focused on 4 goals. As a team, elevating the visitor experience here at the Melville Street Cruise Terminal and in the Esplanade Mall, improving the tour transportation fleet, the traffic city flow, and the walking experience that our guests have here in the historic town of St. George's, the ability of the tour operators to add value, to bundle and package their tour offerings to the cruise lines with improved margins because it's better business for all of us, and to build the capacity, confirm our theme, Pure Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean, and to engage with the cruise executives. We visit them for trade events and investment events, and they visit us to update them as to our progress.
The cruise line's CEO Arnold Donald is pleased that their various calls can contribute to Grenada's development.
Last year, we brought over 150,000 guests here. During the course of the year, we'll be looking at that kind of a number again this year and in the future, hope to expand that. And we're excited that the Carnival brand will be making a visit here this year. Carnival tends to do 7-day itineraries primarily out of South Florida, so it's hard to get this far south, but we do have the Carnival Breeze coming in on a 9-day itinerary, so she was able to have an extended itinerary to get Grenada in. But we have our other brands, P&O and Costa and Aida and our Princess and Holland America brands, and they all bring guests here, and you exceed their expectations every time.
The team also paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Keith Mitchell on Wednesday. And that's a wrap for the National Report for today, Wednesday, September 19th, 2018. On behalf of all of us in the newsroom, I am Wendy Edmond, thanking you for viewing.
Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company. Tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody, 237. If you want to check the Grand Lac balance on your phone, or report a faulty line near your home, if there is an emergency, take out your phone. These are 3 numbers that you should know. 237. Call me anytime. I'm always on the line. 237. Just call me anytime. I'm always on the line. 237.
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zebrapick, Nutmed, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, products of the island will come to.
What's up, sir? This CCJ business, I mean, we know now that having had a thorough debate in both houses of Parliament, that we are going to have a referendum. And I didn't hear Sir Ronald speak on the topic, but I don't know that there's anything new coming out. And when you speak with people who have learning, it is clear that there is a feeling that, yes, we have the qualified people. Yes, we can establish a CCJ. The Treaty of Chaguaramas allows for the resolution of trade disputes, and we need a court which would resolve conflicts. So the issue is not so much as to whether or not we have the resources to constitute the CCJ. The issue remains one of trust and confidence. And someone said to me just last evening that why, again, is it such a priority that we rush to this referendum when we can't even get our courthouse fit for the conduct of mundane legal business? So the issue comes down to one of trust and confidence, or call it confidence and trust. And when you look at the people who are promoting, you have to ask yourself, what is in it? Why? What is this excitement, this excitability? And two things in particular. Every time I hear the argument about having to break the last chains of colonialism, I think, why does Sir Ronald Saunders have a knighthood? Why does Professor Sir Hilary Beckles have a knighthood? Why does Sir Lawrence Joseph, who didn't get his knighthood from the Queen, by the way? I don't understand why we have knighthoods following Antigua like Sir Alan Stanford. You know where he ended up. So how are we breaking these chains of colonialism if the proponents of breaking the said chains have not renounced the knighthoods conferred upon them by Her Majesty the Queen of England and her duly authorized representatives under our various constitutions? I remember sometime in the 1960s when Her Majesty the Queen was pleased to confer on John, Paul, Ringo, and George the accolade of Member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE, that in holders of that particular award, some of the holders of that award, returned their MBEs in protest because they were convinced that the value of the award had been diminished. But yet every year we see not just Queen's birthday, but also New Year's honors being conferred. The most ridiculous of which I am convinced is the so-called British Empire Medal, the BEM. I mean, come on. We cannot be serious. And then the second argument, apart from breaking the chains of colonialism, has to do with accessibility to justice. Well, I am hardly concerned with the CCJ or the Privy Council when the judges refuse to sit in the designated premises on the carriage. So, you know the old saying, justice delayed is justice denied. Then the judges themselves agree that something needs to be done with holding judges accountable in instances where they reserve judgments for unreasonable lengths of time. One of the most reserved individuals that ever passed through this jurisdiction eventually became Chief Justice in a country which is a signatory to the CCJ. I don't know where he is now. So, confidence and trust, or trust and confidence, take your pick. So let us hear now from one of the proponents locally who put forward the argument that the average man can't afford $150,000 or more to access justice at the Privy Council, and postulated that with the CCJ, the average man could afford it is only $30,000 or $40,000. Well, I don't understand what kind of average people he hangs out with, because surely before you get the $30,000 or $40,000 as an average man to appeal a ruling of the OECS appeal court, having gone through various lawyers at the stage of the high court, you don't have $30,000 or $40,000 left as an average man. I would think even a wealthy person would be hard-pressed, having gone through 2 prior stages, to find this. So the governments are welcome. The big evidence about how accessible the CCJ is, and they'll meet on Mother's Day, is that Jamaica and Barbados had a conflict, and this was resolved post-haste. Wonderful. That's good for governments. What does it mean to the ordinary man? And then if we were to look at how many cases, having gone through the High Court, are then appealed to the Court of Appeal in the OECS, I have no idea. I would have thought that this is relevant information that needs to be put out. And it also suggests that if people are so put out by the results of proceedings in the High Court that they find it necessary to appeal, does that not suggest that it is the lawyers themselves that are promoting this continuous litigation? It would be interesting to see the merits of the cases which go to appeal, and then those which are appealed further. Now, I think I may have mentioned before that it was interesting that in Trinidad, the Chief Justice went to the Privy Council. Unfortunately for him, the Privy Council did not find favor with his arguments. But as far as I'm aware, he's still the Chief Justice in Trinidad. And Trinidad, which I believe is the headquarters of the CCJ, is not a member. They haven't acceded to it. If acceded is the correct word, I believe. So, it comes back to the question of, as I said, trust and confidence. What is this rush? What is the reason that we have to go to a referendum on the 6th of November? Whose interests are being served? Is it the average man who, having not found justice at the High Court level or the OECS appeal court level, now has another $30,000 or $40,000 just to access the CCJ? I regret to say that the fundamental issue is not whether or not we have Caribbean jurists who are qualified. I have no doubt that they are qualified. The issue is, why don't we fix the intermediate steps first? Let us start with making sure that we have judges in Grenada who have premises to sit in and hear cases and to adjudicate adequately, so that we reduce the number of instances where litigants feel that they have to appeal and appeal and appeal, because it is only the lawyers' interests that are being served. I'm through.
You're through. You know, A.B., I just want to get back to something that you mentioned a little while ago about accessibility. Somebody cornered me a few days ago and mentioned to me that they were a little bit curious as to the reason why it is that the proponents of the CCJ have been so vocal about the accessibility which the CCJ brings to the appeal process. But they never ever pointed out that apparently the Privy Council has been known, it's an itinerant court, and apparently they have been known to come down to the Caribbean to hear cases. Were you aware of that?
Your volume is fading.
My volume is fading.
Right, good. You said that the Privy Council has been known to what?
They've been known to come down to the Caribbean to hear cases. They're an itinerant court, and they have come down to hear cases. I think the Bahamas was one example. Were you aware of that?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because this was one of the major arguments put forward by a local proponent.
Yeah.
Actually, it's interesting when you go on the website of the Caribbean Court of Justice, they can't even spell itinerant. Go on the website, you'll see they have itinerant.
Mr. B, I'm not going in that direction, but just let me say to you that some of your questions may be answered on Sunday morning, because we're going to have two attorneys coming in here. One is Mr. Douglas Ferguson, obviously, and the other is Mr. Jerry Edwin. Now, I shouldn't say for and against, because Jerry does want to see the CCJ become a reality. But like you and so many of us, he does have some concerns. And hopefully, since these two are going to sort of square off on Sunday morning, some of those questions are going to be answered. What I'm also going to do, I'm going to make sure that they both get copies of this morning's program, the program we're doing right now, so that they can also get the perspective of Serrano Sanders and your perspective, because you just raised some very important points here. So I'm going to send that to them so that they have some food for thought, so that when they come in here at 10:30 on Sunday morning, like we say in local parlance, they can bung away.
No, well, I mean, I suppose you ought to warn the two learned members of the legal profession that there will be no judgment at this point in time, so that they don't need to bung away.
Oh, okay, I understand. Let me ask you one more thing before we pull the curtain down here. We had Dr. Alexis come in here a couple of weeks ago with a young lady. This young lady, I think her name is Charisse Noel. She's a law student. Well, she was at UE in Barbados. She's just finished, and I think she's going to Hugh Whitting in Trinidad next. She came in here to give a youth perspective of the CCJ. And after that conversation, we recorded it as an edition of Law Made Simple. It's on the website. But after that conversation, we just sat here tete-a-teting. And she said, one of the problems that the proponents of the CCJ are facing is that she thinks perhaps the wrong people are trying to get the message out. And she's not the only person I've heard say this. Other people have said that perhaps the wrong people. There's somebody who came down on Mia Motley. How could Mia Motley be presenting the CCJ case? She's a politician. And that's where the public concern seems to lie, in the area of politics. What say you?
Well, it might have been an idea to have hired a public relations firm to do it, rather than have individuals who are seen to have vested interests.
Yeah.
But we're far down the road, and they seem to be committed to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to back off now, because come hell or high water, it looks like November the 6th.
Yeah.
And because the professional public relations campaign seems to have been ineffectual, I don't know that they've got much time to sway public opinion in the desired direction. Notice I put that desired in quotation marks, because it's who wants that desired outcome.
Yeah. All right, baby.
What I've found is that many people that I've spoken with accept that there is probably no major argument against the capability or the capacity of legal minds in the region, but it's just that the process doesn't seem to be inspiring confidence.
And in addition to the fact that there is no shortage of capable people, AB, I sat here with Dr. Alexis and Ruggles a few weeks ago, And I listened to them rant and rave about all the benefits of the CCJ. And there are a lot of benefits. The CCJ has come down, apparently, with some very, very influential and very, very much appreciated judgments. The CCJ, yes, it's very technologically advanced.
Yeah.
That's something they have been touting. Next, the funding of the CCJ, it's funded.
It has been in place for years.
Right, trust fund. So, I mean, there's a long list of good things about the CCJ. But something I have learned, maybe from Mech We Chat, and I think you're familiar with that program that we do on Thursday nights. We have an edition coming up tonight, is that maybe somehow throughout the entire Caribbean, it's not just Grenada, but throughout the entire Caribbean, there is just like a rebellion, a sort of revolt against anything governments may have their hand in. Even though these folks are saying that the CCJ is very distant from government influence. People of the Caribbean, they ain't buying that. They ain't buying that. Once they get a whiff of government, hey, can't trust them. You know?
But you know, this is the strangest thing, because in Antigua and Grenada and in Barbados, effectively there's no opposition in Parliament. I think maybe only in Antigua they might have one seat in opposition. But Barbados and Grenada, it appears to me that based on the outcomes of elections, that the people have absolute confidence in governments, except when it comes to the CCJ.
Well, and
isn't that remarkable?
Supposedly, that's an indication that they have confidence, but Mr. B, I'm sure you drive around and you listen to your radio, you watch the news on TV, you pick up the newspapers, everybody bitching about this wrong, that wrong, everything wrong. And you know, come election day, the same people who are bitching go in and put the X and do the same thing. How do you rationalize that, AB?
I was walking yesterday morning early, and I was looking at a pedestrian who was proceeding in front of me slowly, and he appeared to be going to his place of employment. He was wearing a security guard uniform, but on his back he had a school bag, a satchel. You know, the black school bag with the Grenada flag?
Yeah.
Which last year were supposed to have been given out by some foundation or other to school children. And they all seem to end up in the possession of construction workers and security guards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go.
So, I don't know. This is just an observation. I can draw no conclusions.
And you cannot rationalize.
Yeah.
Anyhow, AB, I tell you what, just make sure you don't miss Sunday's edition. And I'm glad to see that apparently the debate is sort of accelerating. You know, usually you've been hearing proponents or opponents. And I took a lot of flack for that because I've been giving a lot of airtime to the CCJ, Dr. Alexis and Ruggles for the last month. They've been in here every week, and I'm sure they'll be back again next week. And I finally got a hold of Jerry Edwin, and he came in the other day, and boy, let me tell you, did he go to town. And then we also had another separate debate with Sandra Ferguson and a gentleman, civil society activist by the name of Dave Ned, you know. Now, I think you're going to see a lot more of that where they're actually not doing it separately, but they're coming in face to face. And that's why I'm so pumped up about what's going to happen this coming Sunday morning, 10:30. And if I have to go overtime.
Well, I hope that the lawyers are able to maintain a civil discourse.
Well, I'm sure they will. You know, they're both very respectable gentlemen, but I think things are heating up with the CCJ debate. And so, you know,
I think the challenge is and will be to get the argument away from whether or not we have qualified judges and to focus more on the need for us to fix the problems at the lower levels.
And what about the trust?
As someone said, it might be a case of the cart being put before the horse.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Now, you seem to keep harping on the fact that we do have qualified judges, okay? And that's understandable because it's important. But what about the trust issue? What do you have to say about that?
Well, the trust is fundamental because we are being told that because of the issue at lower levels, where there's a perception or maybe there's a reality that that efforts have been made by politicians to interfere where they ought not to interfere. That this is why instead of fixing that problem, we need to go to the third level. And I don't know. So my question would be, okay, so when we have a decision made by the CCJ, what is to make these politicians abide by the decisions?
Yeah.
And then I was advised that even if the Privy Council makes a judgment, the Privy Council has no means of enforcing a judgment with which a government chooses to delay on.
Yeah.
Now, we know, for example, that under our Constitution, with regard to expropriation of private property for a public purpose, but a lot of games may have been played in the past with what constitutes a public purpose. And with regard to prompt compensation, prompt and adequate compensation, we know for a fact that there are multiple instances where a generation has gone by without compensation being paid. And that is because politicians believe that they have arrogated unto themselves absolute rights and absolute power. So that is because, and then we can have a long discussion at another time about the role of the public service. Who is prepared to stand up and say, Minister, here are the rules and regulations. This cannot legally be done.
Another time. And
Another time.
Lots of time for that one, AB. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay, have a good day.
And you too, and we'll see you next week. Take a break, come back and wrap it up.
Okay.
When a hurricane watch or warning is in effect, act quickly. Listen to the media for official information. Set your refrigerator to the coldest temperature to help food last longer. Move electrical devices from areas where they may get wet. During a hurricane, stay indoors. Be mindful that you may lose power and keep listening to the media. Unplug all electrical devices and take off your main switch. This will reduce the potential for damage or fire. Avoid opening refrigerators and freezers, as food will thaw more quickly. Assume all wires are energized and stay away from them. In the event of island-wide damage, GrenadaBroadcast will restore power to critical facilities first. These include hospitals, police, fire departments, and water supply pumps. For more information, please visit us at GrenadaBroadcast.com.
GrenadaBroadcast, energizing our Grenada.
Conveniently located in the Grand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going food fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenada will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep,
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Quad Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Okay, folks. Just about time. Can you believe it? You know, we've been threatening for a long time now to take the program all the way up to an hour. And just by chance, we got there this morning. We've been running about half hour and sometimes 40 minutes. Let me say a quick hello very quickly here to some of you on Facebook this morning. I see there's Harry out there, there's Earl, there's Devon. Hey Devon, back from Curacao, I think it was. I think I saw that you were preaching in Curacao. Nice to have you back. Also Chester out there in Switzerland, and Nesta also in Zurich. Folks, thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday morning, and we certainly hope that you'll spread the word around about this program, and that we shall see thee again this coming, tomorrow morning.